I think it's been no surprise that I have loved Stellar Blade really ever since it came out. If you didn't follow my coverage on it, I did cover it on this channel, but I also played through it on our Let's Play channel, which is in the description down below. We had a fun time over there. We've played through the game. We're going to play through the DLC, things like that as it comes out, or after some of it's come out. But I wanted to talk for a few minutes today about why Stellar Blade is really my game of the year. And it was between this and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a game that I can't say enough good things about. I actually really do love, but I didn't have enough time to put into the game. You know, so it's like I feel like I haven't experienced everything in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So if I was to pick another game for this channel, it would definitely be Rebirth, but I'm interested here in the comments down below, what was your game of the year? On this channel, since I really just cover RPGs and RPG adjacent games, like games with a lot of RPG types of mechanics, I would love to hear mainly that. But on my other channel, Degenerate J, I'll probably do like a game of the year separate from this. Now, while not a full in-depth comprehensive review of Stellar Blade, I did want to highlight some of the things that I love and that I've seen that other players love. And one of them is the dedication and passion from Shift Up, and of course, as well, basically the director and lead developer of the game, Kim Hyung-tae, a man who very clearly wanted his vision for the game and the team's vision for the game to shine through and not be overly influenced by like what the media would think, what people would say, all of these different things. I mean, especially in Western society, I do think that you know that when a game like this comes out, there is going to be some pushback. We've talked about that several times. I don't want that to be the focus of the video, but I do think there are a lot of people who are very upset when they see a game like this, a game that has good-looking people in it, and honestly is fun on top of that, but you know, that's definitely where the marketing push was when it came to like people being against it and the fandom kind of rallying behind it. A lot of it was Eve, was Lily, was these characters like Raven, these beautiful characters. You know that there's going to be people, especially in Western society, who are against that kind of thing from the get-go. They're not happy with who they are, or like they perceive themselves as ugly, would be a better way to say that. Like they are unhappy with themselves. So when they see games like this, they like to throw a lot of different terms at it, like Gooner bait, you know, not a real game. It's not a game beyond its aesthetic. But this game is a lot more than its aesthetic. The beauty of it is not just skin deep. That said, I do want to say that I personally really respect Kim Hyung-tae and Shift Up for sticking to their guns with that. Now, I do know that there was a lot of pushback around the supposed censorship at launch. I still don't know what to make of that because a lot of people don't know this. Those outfits were restored in the game. Now, you can say, well, they were restored because people got upset, and that absolutely might be the case. To me, it seemed like Sony was greenlighting everything around this game and then felt like they got in over their heads and didn't want pushback, so they started, you know, being a little micromanagey around those outfits. I'm not sure if that's the case, that's just what it seemed like. But that said, if Sony was really committed to that, it's also hard to believe that they'd back down even if all of us were frustrated by it. So I'm kind of like of mixed mind on that, because usually I just see these companies be bullheaded and double down. It's very odd to see them back off. So I'm still not sure what to make of that situation, but I am happy that content was restored. Another thing I've really loved about the way Shift Up handled this game is that it was a complete game at launch on disc and digitally, but also it has been added to over time. They added in things like one of the most extensive photo modes I've seen in a console video game. I think it's very, very good, up there with games like Marvel's Spider-Man. They did a really good job with that, and they didn't charge anyone a dime for it. So there's this goodwill with the community that I think many games fall short of, that Stellar Blade was able to cultivate, where it's not only a great game at launch, but it continues to be an even better game now. Now, yes, there was paid DLC with the collaboration with Nier, and we knew that when it came to collaborations that they were likely going to be paid. I don't think most people complained about that. But that said, if you look at the amount of free outfits, free content, and things like that that have been added to the game, I think that that is such a great thing to see. And it's so rare. It's so sadly rare, because everything nowadays is nickeled and dimed for every last penny that you can get out of the customer or out of the player. I personally have not felt like a consumer or a customer when playing this game. And it's one of the rare situations where I don't feel like that. I've actually felt like not a member of the team or a member of the family, but like I actually have some amount of input over where the game goes, with Shift Up even asking online, listening to feedback, listening to the community, and wanting to improve it to make it a game that not only they love, but that everybody else loves too. I think that's really cool. Now, we covered the beauty, and we covered, well, I guess the beauty of the characters, I should say, and we also covered the goodwill and the willingness of Shift Up to work with people to make a good game, but that's not really the only things that make this game good. When it comes to beauty, this is also a very beautiful world. This is also a very, very awesome handcrafted world where I think every detail shines through. Details of a world with a religion in and of itself, details of a world where people think and feel differently, details of a world where different areas feel different, but also share like unifying features. I think it was done extremely well. And it's also a world that is believable within its own confines, where you believe it and the suspension of disbelief works. You know, you go into one area that might have broken down old technology, and there's a history there where you realize, oh, this is a part of the world that fell. You go into another area like the orbit elevator, and you can see glimpses of what the past would have been. And yet those are able to coexist and mesh together in the same game, and they work beautifully. Now, we've talked a lot about aesthetics and goodwill, and I don't want people to think that that's all it is, a pretty game that the developers listen to people on. It's also a game with very fun gameplay. I love the gameplay of Stellar Blade, not just the plot, and when I say the plot, I don't just mean the bosom of Eve. I mean actually the gameplay itself is fun. Now, there is gameplay elements that have been added, like photo mode, that I think add even more depth to replayability. But the fact that when you play through the game, you're collecting all these different outfits, you're going into these combat situations against different enemies that are handled with different strategies, I thought this was done extremely well. When you fight one enemy, a strategy might not work that works on another one. There might be an enemy it's easier to basically just blitz attack and go at and just hit with all your might and get rid of it. There might be other ones where it's a much better, I would say, strategy in order to stand back, block, maybe wait to get some parries in, you know, basically perfect blocks. And then it might be best to attack the enemy with a special attack, or it might be best to use the shotgun ability to interrupt the enemy's animation. I really like the way they did this. It actually reminded me a lot of a cross between games like Kingdom Hearts with more fast-paced combat, hack and slash E type combat, mixed together with something a little bit like Dark Souls, where your blocking or parrying actually really does matter in a fight, especially fights in the later game like Raven. You know, you don't want to go in there just trying to blitz that character. You're probably going to lose. You want to actually pay attention, block, do timing, things like that. And the timing is done very well. It really disappoints me when I'm reading articles and things like this from people saying, oh, this game is just a copy paste, a lazy thing from things like Nier. But when I'm looking at games like that, and you look at, you know, legendary creators like Yoko Taro, he's sitting here praising the game. So it's weird to me that I see so much pushback in the media for this game, both in its gameplay, its aesthetics, and its world, but I don't see that towards him, you know, someone who they're claiming it was stolen from, who loves the game. The community has rallied behind it with its aesthetics, its beauty, its gameplay, all of these different things. Another reason why this is my game of the year is because, honestly, this game is one of the first times I've been excited for sequels. One of the first times I've been excited for more content, whether it be DLC or collaborations or more costumes, many of which are free and honestly great. It's very rare for me that I play a game at release and it hypes me up and I enjoy it so much, and I find it to be such an authentic experience that I'm excited for more, especially in the AAA space. I think when you go into indie games, it's much easier to find that. You find an indie game, you find an indie dev or his small team or her small team or whatever that's very excited about what they made, and you look at that and you say, I really hope these people make more, you know, because they took something, they made their passion project, usually on strings, rubber bands, and dollar bills, compared to like a huge company like Ubisoft or Square Enix or anything like that can pump money into something, right? You're usually looking at a passion project where they're milking every last bit they can get for maximum effort and maximum oomph out of what they can put into it because they don't have unlimited funds. It's very rare, I find, in the modern day to run into very many AAA type games that feel authentic, that excite me for the future of whatever they are really, as a franchise or an updated game or whatever. And I think Stellar Blade really scratched that itch for me, where it reminded me in this year that there are still games like this out there, whether it be small or AAA. There really are some still out there where it is a fully fleshed out single player game that is complete at launch but can become even better if you want it to, that has a good future ahead of it. And I'm really happy to see that. I'm really happy to kind of feel reinvigorated in that way. I would say that it's re-excited me for gaming in a lot of different ways. There aren't many games that do that. The previous game that did that for me was probably Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I loved to death and I covered back when it came out. But regardless, I love this game. I'm so excited for more, and I'm interested to hear what you think in the comments down below. What do you think about Stellar Blade? What was your game of the year, especially RPGs? Let me know. If you enjoy this video, you want to support us, you can use Fortnite code DJAY123. You can check out our other channels like Degenerate J, where I cover all kinds of superhero stuff, and other games like Metal Gear, and I cover things like Assassin's Creed and movie reviews. It's kind of a variety channel where I do fun things. I've got other videos on this channel. We have our own store, cosmobunny.shop, where you can use code DJAY123 for 10% off your first purchase of handmade art. These are coasters, keychains, trays, and more, made from recycled, repurposed comic book, manga, and magazine paper that was actually damaged. These are from books that were damaged, that were being thrown out by stores. We take them, we transform that paper into something new, something that can be remade into transformative art for your home. The holidays are coming up, so if you want to make an order, that always goes to help us. And finally, we have another channel, which is Magical Jill, where we do anime coverage. I appreciate you very much. I hope you have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shui.